Alright, what's up YouTube? I'll do a little video on why my gun's apart. So, since the last video I made, I haven't really been out too much. The weather's been way too hot and miserable to be out there doing anything. At the most I might have done is shoot some pellets in the backyard. I'm gonna switch back to pellets for a minute. I just got a shitload of pellets I want to go through, get rid of. I left the slug liner in there, so they shoot amazing with the slug liner. So I'm gonna leave the slug liner in there and shoot. I'm zeroing in at about 50 yards. And when this happened, I actually had a squirrel in my sights at about 50, and I took the shot, and it didn't do nothing. So what ended up happening, let me show you guys. Okay, so if you see on this little piece right here, okay, so this is your hammer, right? Your hammer spring, your little hammer guide, your plunger, and then the little bumper that comes with it. Well, ultimately, your rod screws onto your plunger, and this screws on, and then your hammer, it protects it. But what ended up happening is this little bumper piece, this is the one that comes with it, it just ended up on top. I don't know how it ended up here, up on top. So ultimately this was just banging against that, and it broke. So technically that screws in or screws on, but the little piece is in there, so it broke off just from banging against it. And here's the new, this is a new delrin C3 bumper, so that'll ultimately go back on there. I called FX sent me the bumper and a whole new assembly. It's still under warranty, so they're really cool. If you haven't called them here in the States, I'm in California. I can't remember where exactly they're at, but I'm in California, so they're nothing but amazing. If you have any questions, call them. Summer, she's the one that answers the phone. She's amazing. We're very helpful. The technicians are they walk me through this whole thing to find the problem, because ultimately I don't know what the problem was. I've had this apart before, so I've been through this whole gun before, so it's not a big deal. I spoke with Ernest over the phone, and he's walked me through some issues too, which aren't big deal. They're just a little O-ring. I had an O-ring inside there come out, and I didn't realize what it was, and he explained it, and that's a pain in the butt to get in. But if you're not afraid to take it apart and you're pretty handy, then it's no big deal. They've also offered for me to send it to them, but I just don't want to wait. So hopefully I should have this little part, this whole piece, in about a week or so, hopefully. And then I'll just put the new delrin C3 bumper on. And I'm not sure if I'm getting everything, or if I'm just getting the rod and the plunger. I mean, my hammer's good, my springs are good, everything else is good. This is all good. The little O-ring back there, that also causes leaks when it goes out. Shoots through the back of that. But other than that, everything's fine. So hopefully when I get this all back together, the weather should be great. It's kind of cooling down. I'm in the 80s, high 80s, opposed to the 110s. So it's nice. I wish it was better. I would honestly be out right now looking for something to shoot. But I also wanted to get into this now that I got you guys here, and kind of give you my thoughts on what happened. But what ended up happening, hold on, let me adjust this. Okay, what happened with this is the Edgun West gauge, EDMU is what they're called, gauges, digital gauges. Here's my other one. They're pretty neat. I like them. I have one on the reg for the reg pressure, and then I have one for the air. But right now I just have the Wicca, which is probably off by a bar at the most. Pretty good. I like it. These are off by not even that much. I go to 250. It'll be at 249 when my gauge on my thing, my tank says 250. These are off just by one, so they're pretty accurate. I love them, but this one took a crap on me, and when it did, I changed out the battery like they said. I changed it out to a brand new battery, and it still was acting funny. The numbers started dancing around. It was reading high numbers. It was reading inaccurate numbers. It was the lights dimmed low. It just started acting funny. So, like I said, I changed the battery out to a new one. It was still doing the same thing. So I took that new battery out, put the old one back in, and in doing so, I busted the little clips. This is the battery holder, ultimately, and it goes on the back. And then I broke them. So I called Edgun West here in California. I talked to Brian, who seemed pretty cool, and is usually pretty cool when you talk to him. And he said that he couldn't warranty it unless Ed himself approved it. So he gave me Ed's email in Russia, and I emailed Ed, who in return wanted me to send it to Russia. So it's expensive. It's almost close to $100 to send this to Russia, the cheapest where he's at. So I figured it's a $90 gauge. Yeah, I mean to some that can be expensive, but I figured why not just replace it? Just send me a new one. I'll send you this one back. Do whatever you want. Send me a used one. I don't care. Just send me one that's not acting funny. He didn't want to. He kept insisting on me either sending it to him or he would send me the parts. And the parts consisted of, I don't know if you can see it. The parts consisted of, there's a little screen on there. You can see it. Pretty much that screen. This back piece, and I'd have to figure out how to, I'm sure soldering it somehow. I don't know how it would come off, but I don't know. I didn't want to destroy it trying to do it. Besides, I wouldn't know how to anyways. So I don't mess with this kind of stuff. So I told him I wouldn't have no idea how to replace or fix it like you guys would that actually do this, that actually make them put them together. I said, no, I can't, I'm not going to mess with it. I said, it's warranted to send me another one. He refused to send me another one and ultimately just started ignoring my emails. So as far as I'm concerned, he don't stand behind his product. He wasn't really too eager to help a customer. And like I said, you wouldn't think this would be that big of a deal to just send me a new one. I mean, you're I'm pretty sure you're doing pretty good with your products. But I let him know how I feel. I let him know what I think of his products. I let him know what I think of him. And I don't recommend anything Edgun related anymore. If that's what you got to deal with, if something goes wrong, as far as I'm concerned, you can kiss my ass. So I let him know what I think of him, his products, his customer service, and his email. So it's just a pain in the butt dealing with them. You got the language barrier you got to deal with. You got just anything and everything that's one thing after another that's just difficult to deal with in his products. So if you have them and you're happy with them, cool. If you have any of his products and you're happy with them, cool. I'm not gonna bash any of that, but what I'm gonna say is I will never buy an Edgun product again. I wouldn't even take one if you gave it to me, gun or gauge or anything. So I will not be a part of it. And it's sad because I did like his guns, and I was considering, before all this crap, that was going to be one of my next guns, was one of his guns, but I'm good now. So I guess FX can thank Edgun for being an ass, because it'll probably be another FX that I get. But just so you guys know, I mean, it's a little gauge. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But I had also read prior to these gauges, bad reviews on customer service with guns. Anything going wrong with guns, they don't. It's not that easy to get it taken care of. The gauges, I didn't really hear too many bad things about them. I mean, some of them were acting funny. Some of them didn't act right from the gate. But I don't know if he replaced them, or I don't know if they had a problem like I had in getting it taken care of. But I should have. I liked them. I like them. FX has digital ones coming out too, so I'll probably just go with the FX ones next if I have to. I'll keep that one until it takes a crap, and then when it does, I'll just throw it away. Yeah, it's nothing I would ever consider getting or using again, just because he's a pain in the butt. But if you have an FX, a new one, this is the mk2, and you haven't changed that out, and yours hasn't broke, I consider yourself lucky, and you will not know anything about anything until something bad goes wrong, unless you change this out. Oop. Look, and it's still intact. It just popped up over that, so it pretty much did nothing. No type of protection. So my hammer was just banging against the plunger until it just broke. I mean, good thing FX is cool as hell. They're very helpful. So I just explained to them my situation. They walked me through the taking it apart to find the problem. When I finally found the problem, they couldn't believe it either, because it's new. But I shoot the shit out of it. When I do shoot it, I shoot the shit out of it. So if you're shooting the crap out of your gun, I would really consider changing this out. It'll help in velocity, they say, and it's pretty much, it'll probably last the life of the gun. Just dropped it. So, alright, YouTube, if you have any questions, you know what to do. If you have any comments, you know what to do. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, like and subscribe. And see you next time.